All right, welcome everyone to our August webinar. My name's Ian Scout. I'm the head of marketing at Flowfuse, and we host these monthly webinars on Node-RED and Flowfuse topics. So welcome everyone once again. This month our topic is around getting started with OPC UA and Node-RED. Our speaker this month is Mika Kerala. He's the research director at Valmet, automation vendor in Finland, but he's also the creator of the nodes, the OPC UA nodes. So welcome, Mika. Before we get into it, Mika, could you just go to the next slide for me? Just a few housekeeping things. So feel free to introduce yourself in the chat pod. It's always great to see where people are joining from. And so, yeah, so feel free to do that. The session is being recorded. We often will get asked that question, but it is being recorded. We'll send everyone a link after the webinar. It usually takes about 24 hours to get that out, but we'll get that out in quick time. And finally, there will be time for Q&As at the end. I would encourage you to use the Q&A chat pod at the bottom. Don't ask questions in the chat. Use the Q&A pod. It's much easier for us to track the questions. All right. Okay, so without much more introduction, I'll turn over to Mika.
Thank you, Ian. So I have been working for Valmet from year 1986. So I actually started to build up our engineering environment, and at that time I started to build up the domain-specific flow programming. So that was 1987-88, and my Master of Science work was actually the Valmet DNA at that time Damatic XD flow-based programming, and I actually made my doctoral thesis 2010 about that. And so I have been actually now working from the year 2050 with Etienne. So that is the Node OPC UA that is actually behind of everything. And Valmet has actually sponsored Etienne to build up the alarms and events, and also the historian for the OPC UA, the HA access. Okay, I will turn off my video, and then I will go to presentation. Yep. So this is based on the Node OPC UA, and there is my email address. I'm also using the Gmail. And I have some OPC UA basics here. Then I have the examples, some samples this presentation, how to use UA Expert and Node-RED, some performance issues, examples and use cases, then some advanced cases, just at the presentation, events and calling methods. But then we will use the most of the time for these example flows. I will actually send those as a zip package to Ian, so you will get those later. So the basic is that you have the server and one-to-multiple clients, and OPC UA widely used at the industry because it's international standard, and it is secure, encrypted with certificates, and there are actually multiple OPC UA stacks available. And you can run it to different operating systems. And information models, those are standardized. That is actually the most important thing that is now progressing when they are actually building up new company specification with OPC Foundation. Yeah, so and today this acronym OPC stands actually Open Platform Communications. You can look the link later. And if we look these information models, so the core is this NodeZ2, and then there are these device and the analyzer models and this PADIM that is coming important with the field device information integration, because this is used for the access and the configure and parameterize the field devices, and it's using this resource dictionary, and you can actually look those from the GitHub. There are coming more and more those different Node-Z XML files. And this is the protocol mapping, client server. PubSub is actually also a new one. you have the data and event notification, and all these how to access data, semantics, executes, methods, configure, everything is there in this information model access. There are building blocks, this meta model, and then these core information models, and this companion, and then vendor specific extensions. So you can also build your own extensions. And if we look what is the UA expert showing, yellow ones are folders used to organize. Then you have the objects that are colored with these 3 different colors. Then you have variables that are green ones. And then you have these methods with the magenta. So you can actually call method with the parameters. It will return status and values. And also views. So I'm using in our product of views to also to organize items. So you have the address base that is the, let's say, the what your program builds up the addresses, but you can have actually a second logical hierarchy. It's actually using references. Those are actually like pointers to real items, variables in the address base, but that's very nice way to use the views. Okay. Then if we look the API interface, so you in principle how the you are using those services, how the client can connect. So you can use the find endpoint or endpoints to connect client to server. You are making connection, you are creating session. So creating session is like the login. So you are logging to with the username, password, and you will actually use then some role normally if you are using permissions. And then you can actually browse address space, read variable value or those multiple variables, read those or read the attributes. You can create subscription and then start to monitor those items that when you are adding the monitor item into the subscription, and then you can call method and subscribe events, and then you should close session and disconnect. I have seen some implementations that are not closing session, so it's the kind of resource leak then, but normally there are limited amount of resources at server, and it will then at some point limit the sessions that the clients will open. And this is how the subscription and the monitored items are working. I have example about this. So normally the variable value comes here, and when it changes, the subscription will publish the data to clients. And same with the event notification, it will publish then those events to client. And then you can have actually the aggregation there, and you can also have the filter that will actually monitor the percent or absolute values, but I have for that one also an example. Okay, and this is actually with the UA, how UA expert you can add server. There are the security certificates, the security policy, and then you have actually also the security mode there. So there is the authentication, anonymous username, password, or certificate. This is a little bit more complicated. I have built there the support that will, it's also possible, but you should actually order the ETNS book that explains that more deeply. And on Node-RED, you have this Node server node. I have examples also for this. There are a lot of parameters that you can use. And I have examples how also these can be used then. And if we look the address space, there is actually in the GitHub this OPC UA test nodes JSON that will contain a lot of examples at different tabs. So you can add those variables, you can add folder, set folder, and there are a lot of those different actions that you can inject to server node. And those can be used to add the items into the address space. I have example also for these ones. And if we look then the client node, there is the how you can actually read or read multiple cyclic period-based. That will generate extra load to server, and it will transfer always all values. And if you think about the performance, then you can use the subscription, inject variable just once, and then the server will publish the value when it changes, and it will be less load on the server and less traffic on network as only changed values are sent. I have a good example for this one also. And then a little bit more complicated one is the how to call the method. So this is how the OPC the UA expert will show it. So there is this object ID, it's the parent object of method, and method ID is the node ID of method and the parameters for the method. So UA expert can build up the dialog during the runtime. I have the static the user interface here, but I have also implemented that you can inject all the input parameters in one array. So that is the one way to make a workaround that the user interface is not so good as it should be. And then we have these events. So you have actually these events that the server will publish, and you can make the subscription to events. Then the Node-RED will get these events here. I have example how you can see those on the debug tab, and you can actually also acknowledge the events. You need the alarm ID and the event ID then. That is also in the flow what I will provide. And then if you think about how to use the historical access, I have also it included. So you can just install this historian, and it will actually use the ring buffer in memory, and then you can test also these aggregate functions. You can actually ask all the values that are in the ring buffer, what is the raw values, you can read the minimum, maximum, and average, and interpolative. Those are supported by the Node OPC UA as an aggregate functions. Okay. Then I have these test nodes. This is what is in the GitHub. So there are these multiple tabs, how to read information, browse, write, read the information. There's the how to read basic types, write basic types, how to reconnect first. There's the server. I have tested a little bit the mustache, how to use templates, how to read or write multiple cloud connection and method calls. So I have implemented different kind of examples in that one. And if you are using the OPC UA server, the Node-RED based, you can actually set variable also without using the client. So I built in the way that you can actually use your own flow to modify the variables that the server is exposing and updating in the address space. So you don't have to use a client node. If you have some GPIO or MQTT message or something else, you can then use this kind of way to update the values that the server is providing to clients. Yes. And still, I have here a couple of slides left. So how to make the application level protection, because normally the communication is secured with certificates and username password. Application level means that you can protect the variables with the access rights. So there you can set the read, write status, historic read, write, and semantic change. But you can have also the role-based permissions, that the user role, there are different roles, and there are those anonymous authenticated. The session is active with the username password, but then there can be observer, engineer, operator, and these admin roles. And you can actually use the flow to set those. Those are also visible in the UA expert. These are not yet commonly used. I have actually also example for this, what I will include then. And then the discovery server that you can actually use on the server, this register to local discovery, and you can add this one node in your flow, and then the UA expert can look from the servers on network. It will find all the servers that has registered those there. And you have to start the Node-RED flow first, because UA expert will then keep the port in listen mode, and there will come the discovery server error that port is already in use. And then the last slide or second class is about the performance. Somebody was asking what is the performance for the server or client, and I tested that I made a small flow that will populate the address space with 10,000 float variables, and it seems that the client can read something like 1,000 variables in 20 milliseconds. So it's not a bottleneck. The bottleneck will come with if you are using a lot of debug messages and some other heavy message payload handling in your flow. Yep. And with 10,000 nodes, the maximum was 261 milliseconds, average 190 milliseconds, and minimum 178 milliseconds. So it's pretty good. Okay. I think I will then go to those flow files. So I have here actually already running. This is the how to make the browser. So this is the first example. So I can use this browse node that just needs the endpoint, but then it will actually give the objects in array. So you have these objects here, and then you can also use the this collect. So I put the message.collect to true, and if I browse, then let's see a little bit better. We'll clean this. So it makes this all in one, and you have then there are 3,800 and something those objects here. So it will get all those what is browsing. And then I can use also this to limit the topic to static variables. I'm using actually here is running the OPCUA simulation server from Prosys. And so I'm actually browsing the static variables. So it's quite fast, 2,600 almost. But then you can also do it the hard way, that you are making own message from each. So then it will take a long time to browse and send everything to this debug window. So it's better to bundle the messages or the content to one message. It's much faster. Okay, that was the first flow. I have here the second one is the events. Takes a while, that will start again. Okay. Oh, have I lost this one? Oh, sorry. I perhaps copied something on top of this one. My mistake. But I think I can show it from the. No, it's demo effect. I have so now this events is here, so I have here the one thing that I haven't yet fixed. It's actually coming fix. Okay, now we have everything running again. And if I test the events, it's actually here that events and the interval is, we'll make it a little bit faster. And then when I test events, I will get here the events from the, let's see, where is the payload, and there is the, there's quite a lot of those different event objects coming, and the alarm type my level. So if we look here, the simulation server that we have here, I add here the event view. And if I drag and drop the server here, we can see here is the my level. Same alarm that is coming here into the Node-RED, and then I can actually make this a little bit smaller. This one. And if I acknowledge this, then it's acknowledged the alarm. So this function will push the topic condition ID and the comment. So if we look the comment here, the can't remember where it was actually, but not that comment. Okay, but anyway, we can acknowledge the alarm and then it's acknowledged on the server side. That's the how you can use the acknowledge, and it's actually here the acknowledge action, and it's here my level alarm acknowledged. It's now updating the Node-RED OPC UA ACK. So it was already a new alarm because each alarm has own event ID. You have to actually read it to acknowledge the correct alarm. Okay, that was the acknowledge the events. So the next one is the method. Okay, so here is actually now the scene, and all those are object ID is the my device. So if we look here the my method, and whoops, you can actually see those here. My method and the parent object is my device. My device, my method, and those are called here. So when I just inject this, then it will calculate the scene. And then I can also inject the parameters, so I can actually put the object ID, method ID, and the input arguments here, what are needed. Then it's just the same. Now I'm calling the power, not the scene. So they are different. Is it also a parameter that what will be calculated? And then here is the also that you can use this client node. This is the method node. This is the client node. Method node contains all these, and the client node is using the action method, but the same end result. And then we can actually use the method parameters also here, and this is also the method node. So it's a multiple different ways to get the same end result. So it's quite flexible to use those at the different ways. Okay. Then there is the monitor. So we have here the monitor and deadband type is 2. Absolute interval is 1, the publish interval is 1 second, and then the deadband type, this is the value that, okay, let's make it a little bit bigger, and the absolute. So when the value changes over 5, then it will actually send the update here. So if I make this subscription, action subscribe, and here's actually this counter item. So this is changing all the time. So now I have injected, and then when the change is over, this is the first, and yeah, over 5. So from 0 to, then it will be next time 12. That's a little bit funny way how they calculate the difference, but that's how it works. And then I will go to this, what was the float analog item, analog items, and the float analog item is now 0. And okay, I will make some change here that it's not updating. Yep. Okay, if I subscribe this, I should make the change here. Sorry. So I have the deploying just the modified nodes. So if I subscribe this again, it's subscribed at active monitoring, so it's 0 at the moment. And if I go here, and the deadband change here is 10%, and it's calculated actually from the float analog item from this EU range, that is -5 to 50. And if I change it to 1 or 5, and when I change it, because it's 100 and the 10%, then it should be 11, and then it will update publish the value. So that's the principle when you are making subscription with the deadband and with the percent. I hope this was clear enough now, but you will get the examples. Okay. Next one is the multiple. Okay, let's wait a little bit that it will start. Okay, this is the register nodes. This is the old, but normally the servers are not supporting it nowadays. They are so fast, but the register will actually make a cache, and when you are reading or rewriting, it will make it faster. But I will now just, here is the item, and here is the read multiple, and this add variable. I will just inject new variable here. It's read multiple here, and it's doing nothing. I add a new variable. So counter and random are here, and then I want to read all. Topic is read multiple, and I will just inject this one, and it will read those values, and it will give all the data is here. So I can actually call this again, and this is one way to make if you want to read some variables every second or every 5th second, this is the one way to get all the values at the same time. And I can clear this, then you don't have any more these. So you can have some switch to add other variable set and then read them all. And the same with the writing. So this is just the write multiple action. I can add items here, and then I can actually, the add variable is here, double is here, the value is now there, and then I can write all. And there is the writing done. So it will actually return the status code of each node ID that the write has been successful. So I can clear them, and then it's also possible to build up this kind of payload that contains the node ID, data type, and value. So I can add all, and I think there is the one error. If I write all, yeah, there's no items. Oops. Now there are 3 items, and then I just write all. Sorry. There is something. Yeah, this was the one error item there. Okay. Something with the payload topic. Okay, I will check that later, but that's the principle that it will find out if there is an error in one item when you are writing those. Okay. Next example. Then I think we have to reconnect. It's loading. So in this case, there is actually no client as init value, and I have here actually parameters for the process, so I can actually make the connection now on the fly, and then I can read. Oops. So it will read this. I can read the current time. I can read the product name. So it's the simulation server. Then I can change. I have here also the Node-RED OPC server running. So I can change to local server here. And then when I read the product name, it will be the Node OPC server. So I'm just changing those endpoint security mode and those login user information with the message. And this is just a simple Node-RED OPC server. I think I can connect it. It's running there or with the different credentials. I will just remove it now. Okay. And here is also that you can read that information from the file. So it's just building the JSON and injecting it to as an endpoint. So we have now the Node-RED, and now if I read the current time and product name, it will be the simulation server, the process. Okay. Next. And then we will go to this server example. Okay. So now I have the Node-RED server running here. Let's add it here. Now I have the empty server here. If I add test variable, just rebrowse, I have test variable here. I can add folder. I can add folder variable that will go actually inside that folder. If I now look the rebrowse, I have test folder and there I have test variable. So I'm actually injecting those commands to add variable or add folder to server, and server will make those. I will add this test trend. If I look now the test trend variable, it's here. So I can then install Historian. So it will just make the Historian buffer into ring buffer. And if I just rebrowse this one, then there's the historical access configuration instantiated under the test trend. Then I can make the register namespace. So it will actually register to this www.test.com. I can add folder test variable, and then if I list the namespaces, you will actually get this object that contains the test.www.test.com is on namespace 5. And if we look this here, rebrowse, what was the variable name? Test add folder, so it's a namespace 5 here. So it's here the value is the namespace value is 5. And then if we want to add also these alarm parameters, there is those priority alarm text. We add the discrete alarm and the limit alarm. So if I now rebrowse this, I have here actually those. And if we take the server here, remove this one and clear these, and if I make the alarm state, first this one is the discrete, we will get it here as a new alarm, and then if we take this limit alarm here, I can show you the limits are actually here. The high limit is 9, high limit is 10, low limit and low limit, and if I make this 9.5 and we look events, there is the message that the condition is high. And then if I make the value the 11, there should come again another alarm, and if I make it back to normal, let's say the 2, it should actually be here also to back to normal. Yeah. And then if you want to see, I can make it -1, just to show that they will come to all those. The condition is -9. Oh, the state is high. Okay, there is some typo in somewhere. Okay, and then if we go to read the historical values, I have to change this was the test trend, the variable. There. Okay, I will make the 3.3, 4.5 and the 5.8. Okay, and if I add here the trend view, and I drag and drop this one here, update. Now we have the values here, so we can read all values here with one command. Oops. So I'm using the client, and it's actually putting the topic, the node ID, and the aggregate is raw, and the num values per node is 10, and then it's not returning bounds. And I can also, oops. Debug messages, those we will need. And I just clear those. Can read so it will return the result. What is the value calculated with the aggregation, minimum, maximum, average, and also interpolative. So it's you have to actually get from the payload the result, the data values, and there is the value then. Okay. And then there's the server rights is the next one. So now I'm adding folder again, and I'm actually giving here the anonymous the rights. It can just read, and the engineer role can have those access rights or permissions, let's say so, and the observer just have the write access. Okay, I will add these variables, install historian, and okay, and now if we go to here, I make the rebrowse, data access view, and now I'm the anonymous user. I try to write there the 22. Oops, let's show here. Okay, I will clear this, but the value haven't changed. I write again, and then bad user access denied. And if I make here the change user, I have the James Bond as observer, and he will have the access to write values 33. There it is. So the James Bond with the role observer has the access rights for the variable. So you can actually see the access permissions here. So engineer, observer, anonymous, and there is also the anonymous browse, read role, read history. And I have here the flow that will actually then test with the different roles. This is the with the observer, and this one right was with the observer, and this was the read anonymous, and there should come the okay, just a moment. Can read but not write. Yeah, bad user access denied. Same error comes here. Okay, then what is the next one? Variables was the next one. So now I have again the server should be running. Come on. Yes. And now it's empty. I will add the test variable. Okay. So it's true at the moment. Let's go a little bit here. So I can set it false from here, and I have connection just to server. No OPC UA client is used. So I have made that I can send the message variable, the variable name, data type, and name, and the variable, what was the namespace, and the variable value. So you can actually use this kind of way to just change the values. And if I add the float variable here, I can set the value from here, and then I can also, I added the interface that the status code is now good, so I can add there the quality, bad aggregate something, yeah, and also that with the string, So this is using the numerical value, very cryptic ones. Those are standard error codes in OPC UA, but I made it possible also to use that uncertain initial value. So if you read what are the possible different status codes, you can set those easily with the clear text or string. And the timestamp also, yeah. And status codes, I think these are the source code, but they are also somewhere else. But this is from the GitHub that you can generate the status codes that you can look from there. Okay. Okay, how many flows I have still left? So then the server with discovery, let's stop the UA expert, no. And then
And Mika, this is Ian. We should
yeah.
make sure we leave time for questions too, just as a reminder.
Okay, that is not so important. I will show the subscribe multiple. That's the last one, sorry. Last flow, just wait a little bit, it will start. As we had to read and write multiple, this is how to subscribe multiple. So this is the last one. Just takes sometimes a long time to start the flow. So we have a couple of questions most probably. Yes. So it's very simple to make the subscribe multiple items. So it's the here. So it starts to update those. So this is the node ID array. And the topic is multiple, and then there's are those items, and this is just the how to make the static variables, but I should go to with UA expert to change the values, but that's the principle. Okay, I think we are ready now.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Mika. So we have some questions already asked, but I kind of encourage everyone to use the Q&A pod to ask questions for Mika as you have anything that you have about Node-RED and OPC UA. So the first one was from Jose. And his question is, what's the maximum number of tags you can subscribe to with a single flow?
What was the question?
What is the maximum number of tags you can subscribe to with a single flow?
Oh, I was using 10,000 in my OPC UA client performance, and that was something like how many items that was actually there. I think it's here. 261 milliseconds. So I was reading 10,000 variables. The UA expert was used with the performance view to make the testing. So I think the flow otherwise is the limitation, not the because the OPC UA, the node-based OPC UA is event-based. So if you are reading or making the subscriptions, it's somewhere else the bottleneck.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So
10,000 is normally enough.
yeah, exactly. Okay. All right. The next question for the multiple, and I'm not sure, kind of maybe it was one of the flows. Can we pass more than one variable to read in a single message?
So that was read multiple, and the read subscribe multiple. Yeah.
Yeah, it was read multiple. He clarified read multiple.
Yeah.
So can you answer that question, or do you understand the question?
No. What was the
so for the read multiple, can we pass more than one variable to read in a single message?
That was the array. Payload contains array of node IDs. I can reopen the flow.
Hello.
Yeah, I've asked Oriel, he can talk. So if you want to clarify your question.
for subscribe multiple, you pass an array of addresses for different variables, and then you subscribe to more than one address. But for read multiple, you add all the variables separately in the beginning.
Yes, I haven't just refactored that. There's the preparations done that it could be the array. It should actually detect that if you inject an array of the variables, the read multiple should also work, but I haven't had time to check the code because it's checking if the object is array, and then it should be similar as the subscribe multiple and read multiple. Sorry.
Okay, no, I just wanted to ask because on one case it works, but the other one doesn't. Then it was a little bit confusing for me.
Yeah,
Just
I understand, but I have been developing this from 2015 or 16, and I can't remember everything, and I have been improving it from time to time and trying to keep it compatible all the time. That's the actually very tough work to do nowadays because you can't remember all the features that you have implemented, and I have been broken the compatibility sometimes and then trying to get it back working. Yeah. Sorry.
Thanks anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question. So the next question is, can the client get a node based on the browser name instead of the node ID? Example, opaque node IDs.
I haven't made the translate browse path to node ID. I know how to do it in our product. We have the support. It's just a fair to a request. I could implement that at some time. Yeah, not a problem.
But it's not implemented now.
It's just a couple of lines of code and just to check where to put it. Yeah.
So are the OPC nodes on GitHub? Can people open requests for enhancements on GitHub, or
I think I have my here GitHub. Yeah.
So maybe people.
I have here the issues and the other. I have made the fixes there, and then I have here the questions, and then I have enhancement here. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But I'm quite busy nowadays because this is the more like hobby for me, and I'm actually making the research on normal working hours.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? I think there's no open questions right now. So we've got a few more minutes, but we can also start up, kind of finish up a bit early if there's no more questions. So I guess just to conclude, Mika, the nodes are available on the forum libraries, in the libraries, the Node-RED libraries. That's how you recommend people get them.
I can these webinar items flows I can send to you, or I can actually add those to next version when I will publish the new version of the Node-RED config OPC UA. I can add those to examples folder. Yeah.
Okay. Well, send them to me, and I'll try and get them out to everyone for that. But just in general, kind of the way to get the OPC nodes, you get them from the forum, the library.
Yeah.
So, do you have any other final comments?
I like how the Etienne has actually implemented the Node OPC UA. It's very efficient, and we are actually building our products on top of that, and we have aggregator that is capable to handle 100,000 variables, and it's something like 1 second the response to return all the variable values from our system. Yeah.
Wow. And what was that? What product was that?
It's the Valmet DNA, and we have the Valmet DNA OPC UA aggregator.
Okay.
Yeah. But the Valmet company owns that product. It's not
Right.
on open source. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much for doing the great presentation. There's a kind of a
With the demo effects.
yeah, exactly. But there's a comment in the chat, Mika, great presentation, you rock. So I think it's very well received. So thank you everyone for joining. There will be a quick survey to complete when you leave the webinar. So I hope everyone will take the time. It really helps us to improve the content that we provide into the future. So thank you everyone, and thank you again, Mika. Take care. Have a
Okay.
great rest of the day.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.